My last video, which will be linked in the comments section, I touched on the Bank of America mural, where I theorized that it contained hidden symbolism that was linked to, in fact, the Denver airport. The symbolism was that of the actual black sun as depicted in the mural, which of course, as history now states, was a symbol of the inner SS stronghold and the SS themselves, who were involved in large eugenics programs and mind control research. But after connecting a few more dots, I indeed think that there's a bigger picture involved, with more symbolism within the famous apocalyptic murals depicted at Denver Airport and that of the murals depicted at the Bank of America. So stay tuned as the Outer Dark investigates 10 Bank of America breadcrumbs which lead us to the Denver Airport. Number 10. First some context, because this is anything but simple, so we must start briefly with the Denver Airport itself before we get to the Bank of America murals in detail. But if you're already familiar with the Denver Airport conspiracy and the symbolism, don't worry, because I'm going to be going over this really quickly. First, the Denver International Airport has been long-standing within the conspiracy world as the secret hub of the New World Order in the event of an apocalypse. The idea of a secret bunker or mega bunker under the Denver Airport is not just led by threads of conspiracy, but in a lot of the ominous symbolism around the airport itself, such as the strange gargoyle rising from the suitcase, symbolic, as many researchers have stated, of the deep state finally revealing itself. Now also note the apocalyptic horse out at the front of the airport with, and I'm not even joking, glowing red eyes. They actually put glowing red eyes in the horse to be lit up. But there's a whole host of strange things about the airport. I mean, it went billions of dollars over budget. It's got a plaque in the front of it, which also states to be from an ominous New World Airport Commission that doesn't actually exist, and a whole host of other things, too many to go into in this video. But the thing that makes the Denver Airport so famous, at least in conspiracy theory, is in fact the ominous murals. Number 9. The Denver Airport contains ominous murals, which when connected visually tell a narrative of what can only be described as some kind of mass chaotic event, a type of doomsday scenario. It depicts a giant man in a mask and a Nazi-esque uniform swinging a large giant sword that is killing the dove of peace. Another mural depicts a picture in which animals are for all intensive purposes look like they are being stored in glass cases. A number of researchers have stated that this looks like some kind of future Ark scenario where the animals will be stored and then brought out of storage when the world is in a better state again. At this point there is a large period of rebirth as shown in this mural, at which point we can see everyone around the world surrounding some kind of Native American person in headdress. On my first analysis I thought this was a Mayan, and maybe it is because the black sun does relate to Mayan mythology, but now under a further analysis I know that this relates in fact to the Hopi Indians themselves. Number 8. My reasoning behind this is several. First, there are certain phrases that are inscribed within the airport floor, and this phrase in particular translates into, in fact, white metal, but other links to Native Americans, indeed the Hopi themselves, come in a number of phrases. For instance, this phrase right here, which translates to read Tallow River, a place which, interesting enough, seems to be a clue to a place that currently has a large agricultural resource and a large water supply. So what does this all mean? And what other clues are that the Hopi are in fact at the core system of this apocalyptic event, at least their prophecy, which they're widely known for? Well, it's the fact that the swastika, as I referred to earlier, in the Bank of the American mural itself, and used by the actual SS Nazis, perhaps from the same kind of mystical school, is in fact also used by the Hopi. In fact, it's a direct symbol of theirs that refers to an actual center of their mythology, as you can see here. Now, in the actual picture you can see here, you can see how the swastika swastikas used to denote nothing less than a sun. And in the Hopi themselves, they have a long-standing prophecy which depicts a time when there's going to be 3 days of darkness that will shake the world. This event coincides with an event which is called the purification, when the earth will be in fact cleansed, and a number of select individuals before the cleansing or an event to come, a mass apocalypse, will be taken up, and get this, by aliens into the sky. Since the Hopi Indians themselves, aliens and people from other star systems are in fact a strong part of their actual mythology and lore. Number 6. In fact, the Nazi swastika isn't a lone symbol within the Hopi. It directly relates throughout the Hopi traditions. It stands for a number of things, and also it directly relates back to the airport of Denver and the Black Sun. It's the same iconography. Whoever took it or adapted it no doubt took it from something far, far more ancient. It's worth noting that although the SS used this symbol, they in no way invented it. They probably came across it somewhere else, from some kind of thread of mysticism, some obscure school, perhaps associated with this kind of mystic path or field of interest and knowledge into the Hopi, or maybe something far older. There's no doubt the connection between the Black Sun symbolism, the Denver airport here, and the actual symbolism within the Bank of America mural. Number 5. So let's summarize. The Denver airport predicts or foretells a cataclysmic event, as predicted by the Hopi. The Hopi uses the same symbol as the swastika, which is depicted by the SS and a number of mystic schools, and in fact is inlaid into the Denver airport itself, as you can see here. So here we have a strange set of iconography, the Black Sun, that is, the swastika, and the fact that it seems to be interconnected with all of these systems, at least the same type of interpretation of some kind of meaning. Number 4. This is the Bank of America mural in full. You can see it takes up 3 panels, but just for the sake of context, I want you to have a look at the last panel. That is the panel with the boy in it and the strange sun above it. That's right, the Black Sun. We will come back to the rest of the panels a bit later and go into all 3 in depth, but first I want you to have a look at this panel and look to the far left of it. You will see indeed half a heart, and this is our first clue to higher symbolism below the surface symbolism, since this heart only becomes a whole heart if the picture is indeed mirrored, as you can see here. But so what, you might say? What does the heart reference, and why is this just not a coincidence? Well, because this heart references something from Masonic iconography, as you can see here. In fact, you can see perhaps the entire relationship between the Masonic iconography and that of the picture itself. Now it's mirrored. You can see the fact that there's a checkered floor, that there's 2, in fact, celestial objects in the sky, and there's Jacob's ladder to the left, except now it's a staircase. But I have to point out, this is not the same as classical Masonic iconography at all, since in classical Masonic iconography, the floor that's checkered is never red and white. It is always black and white, as a number of things. I mean, there's also 2 black suns in the sky. This just doesn't occur in Masonic traditions. So although this probably has roots in Freemasonry, maybe dating back a long time, it's not really Freemasonry. It's something that has maybe the same mystic schools as Freemasonry is derived from, but it is something that's completely different in a number of aspects. But for now, let's go on to number 3. First, let's look at the first picture in the sequence. This is what I believe depicts the precursor to the events shown and indeed the Denver airport. You see a massive sleeping giant in the hill. This could refer to the giant man as pictured in the Denver murals with the sword. The same giant man that's wearing the gas mask and indeed is striking down the dove of peace. But for now, note the workers who have shovels underground, as I think that's important, and the fact that they are working on a cave system, or what you could call, under the circumstances I think, with references to the Denver airport, in fact a bunker. But what happens to this mural when it is mirrored and placed beside each other? Well, this shows up. Note that now the hidden order is revealed. The hills make up a perfect pyramid, with the eye of the sleeping giant making up the very eye of Providence, the eye at the top of the Masonic pyramid. And remember, this is not a mistake. Remember the half a heart as shown in the mural prior, and the fact that it only becomes complete within Masonic iconography when indeed it is mirrored. Number 2. Now look at the next mural, the event which I believe comes after the large building of the bunker. This is a strange burning sun, full of people in the sky. This is of course could be depicted as the black sun itself, the arrival of some kind of doomsday force. I think this is the first clue that we've got that the black sun is actually an event. You can see how everyone is afraid and going crazy because there's some kind of super horrific event taking place around the world, either the return of something or, as the Hopi predicted, the day of purification, at which only the chosen would survive. But what happens when this is mirrored, you ask? Well, this happens. Again, we see a perfect pyramid. Note this time, the pyramid is hidden in the netting itself, and above we can see that burning women are in fact become a type of eye above the pyramid once again. Is this the true face of the black sun that is returning? Well, you guys will have to decide for yourselves, but it seems very strange to me. All the iconography seems to match up with the pyramid and the eye and displays an event of a cataclysmic disaster. Number 1. So this brings us to the last mural. The mural which notes 2 black suns in the sky, as when mirrored, and the checkered floor. This could be the event actually now having come to pass. In fact, I think is the event coming to pass. Note that gone from the land are any people, apart from the strange boy with the blonde hair. You have only small instances of people, a man behind at a burning bush, and some kind of woman in some kind of glass case being sucked up into the black sun. At least it looks like, although that could be interpreted a number of different ways. It is also worth noting that indeed underneath the ground you see a bunch of people in suits deciding as if they don't know what to do. This in itself could reference the underground state itself or deep state that are looking up and wondering what they can do now. Do they stay below or do they try to return? And it's worth noting that they all seem to be pointing at the child in the frame. That is almost the next stage of human that exists in the new world that's created after the purification. This is really ominous for a number of reasons. Since within the conspiracy world, there are what I call ultra-conspiracies, which are depicted within the research of what is known as alien abduction research. But you can decide for yourselves whether it's aliens or indeed the government's mind control or eugenics programs, or you can decide whether it's both. But in looking deep into the patients, it's worth noting that someone called Dr. David Jacobs, a former professor at Templeton University, found that those who said they were abducted by aliens had a very strange memory implanted, a type of screen memory. In this screen memory, Dr. David Jacobs found that all the abductees were implanted with a hidden ulterior motives, that is, to take place at a certain time. When the time came, the abductees were programmed to suddenly walk out on the street and tell everyone screaming that everything was going to be alright. Everything was going to be fine. Take a look.
Then people began to be much more specific about what they would be doing in the future. And a lot of what they were doing was crowd control. Standing on a sidewalk saying, move along, it'll be okay, don't worry, everything is all right, just keep moving, move in this direction, move that way. And I had a whole bunch of people telling me that this is what they're going to be doing. And I'm talking to a person who has a PhD in English, telling me, well, that's what she's going to be doing. She's going to be standing on a corner directing people. And I'm talking to a person who is a junior high school, middle school dropout, telling me the same exact story. Well, they'll be standing directing people. They don't know particularly why, but they have to, this is what they know that they'll be doing. Plus a whole variety of other things. Those are just an example.
So is this the picture of what's going to happen? That the earth is going to be cleaned and only those with the right, perhaps DNA, will inherit it? The children of some kind of secret bloodline, either developed by underground Nazi eugenics or deep state eugenics, or indeed aliens themselves? Or maybe a host of both? The fact is, I don't know. All this is just pure dot connecting, but I don't really have any evidence connecting this at this time. Just hunches. This is all high speculation. fiction, and it's kind of really scary. But at the end of the day, you guys have to just decide for yourselves. Decide what you want to believe for yourselves. Don't trust what I'm saying. Make up your own decisions and use what makes sense to you. In the meantime, please give the video a thumbs up if you did like it. That helped me out a lot. And this is Ed from the Outer Dark as always, and I hope to see you guys later.